It's time to do a challenge together. I'm going to build 100,000 person plus community in public and make well over $100,000 doing it. It should be multiple seven figures. And I want to do this in person. A couple of reasons for that. One, although I've had multiple successful businesses, I had 2 7-figure agencies and I've had 1 multi-7-figure consulting firm. None of them have had really a community aspect to them. So it's something I've really not done. And 2, I think since what we saw basically through the pandemic was people yearned for human connection, they yearned for that. So I think irrespective of kind of what business you're now in, I think there is an evolution of that where you build a community around it. And that is always going to be a monetizable thing, irrespective of where AI takes us, right? Now, let me state this for a fact now. I think AI is going to create incredible opportunities for everybody. And that's what my community is actually about. But the thing is, you've got to learn how to use it and how to leverage it. And I've been using it for a couple of years now. And although I am not like any type of professional by any means, I've got a fairly decent grasp on how I can use it to leverage my outputs and get paid essentially the same money, if not more, for doing less work. So what I'm going to do, these are just going to be totally raw videos. So if you're into that, awesome. If you're not, you don't have to watch. It's fine. So we've kind of already covered why, right? But it's like they're basically AI-proof communities. You know, people connecting with other people, and that's always going to be a good thing. I think it works in any industry, and people want connection, right? I think also when you build a community, it's much easier to keep monetizing the same people over and over again. And as I'm sure you're all aware, it's easier to sell to someone who's bought from you once than it is to find someone to buy from you again. So I'm going to walk through like what I've been doing today, because I'm literally going through this right now. And I want to walk through some of the hurdles, some of the pitfalls I've already found. So I'm just going to basically unpack everything. This was my old community, and it's called Scale High Ticket because I've grown 3 high ticket businesses. And this was the post I put out today. And this is where I see the big movement going. And like I'm calling this now, but I'm going to be creating this movement of vibe consultants. And these are people who just commercialize and use high leverage AI to make a lot more money. And this is exactly what I did with my last company that I was a part of, Ramped. Between me and the original founder of this business does just under 2 million a year. And there's literally was me and him in it before I exited last year. So one thing, first learning here, this has got 160 people in it right now. And one of the challenges that I found, and something that I know is going to be a repetitive challenge with communities, is just getting engagement. So you get like the odd people doing a post. Also, it's engagement from them. It's also engagement from me. So I know, because I actually really like this guy. I'd never come across him until recently, this guy called Nick. And he did a post on how he's doing 300 plus K a month in his school communities. And like his number one thing was like why people succeed and fail is active daily engagement from the person whose community is. So this is like a big, bullet point list number 1 is every day engage. So me and someone that works for me, we're going to be doing this together, and he's going to be helping people actually with workflows and automations and stuff like that. So let's just show the community and kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So vibe consulting, like I said, is this idea of commercializing leverage. We've had this evolution from like people have done like AI automation stuff, but the thing is AI is advancing so quickly that like a lot of the development tasks needed for AI automation agencies used to do actually kind of don't need doing anymore because AI can literally do it. But the thing that AI can't do right now, because there is definitely this trust barrier between humans and it, is it doesn't have the ability to self-identify issues within a company, right? So the big premise, let's call it, of this entire community and this entire thing is finding the inefficiencies within companies and then using AI to build robust workflows that enable people to just make more money. So this can be, you know, you come from warehouse, distribution, logistics, food and beverage, you are a current consultant or coach. Like all of this stuff is now possible. Like if I take my very first e-commerce agency that I ran, right? And I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, like you can now do AI ad creatives, ad copy. You can now use AI to even upload the ads and manage them. It's like all of a sudden you could be a one-man, quote unquote, marketing agency, like a vibe marketer, right? And you could be making you could, to be fair, I bet there's going to be someone making 7 figures a month as a solo guy because they know how to do it. And this is what Vibe Consulting's all about. It's about understanding AI, staying on top of it, but actually having the commercial intent behind it. And that's what this community is all going to be about. So it's just going to be giving the workflows, teaching people stuff, because ultimately this is the stuff that I am using on a day-to-day basis, right? So when I've come to building this community, I'm just going to show you live because there isn't really a plan here, but it's basically just, I'm just raw dogging this, and I apologize ahead of time, but you know, this is kind of the plan. I'm going to have a community. I'm going to put a bunch of classroom material in there, some of my old stuff, some of my, and then start putting in new stuff. I've then got a bunch of like NAN stuff that I've built, and we're continuously building. Like this is just what we've got here is just like a little soundbite of everything we've built. When it loads. So, you know, we've got all sorts of stuff from like scrapers, developing transcripts from my newsletter, you know, adding people to communities, AI assistants, even got a workflow doing, you basically, you know, Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers and like how you build the, what do you call it, a value equation. Got all that inside of a big workflow here. So this is more complicated stuff. Don't get me wrong. This isn't, I don't know anything about it and I'm going to jump into it. And a lot of people are scared of this. This is why, like, a big part of my plan here with the community, because a lot of what I'm doing here is going to appeal to non-techie, non-digitally savvy people. Like I said, I want people in manufacturing and engineering companies looking at this. And the reality is we're probably going to use something more like Gumloop or Lindy potentially for their stuff. I've done a bit of Gumloop stuff as well. It's much easier to use. It's just very logical. So, you know, this is basically the high level plan. So like right now I've been, you know, I'm going to show you kind of the workflow that I've been doing. So I've been looking at like successful communities, and so I've got here the course community, which is Mike President or something like that. I forget how you say his name. Max, 100,000. You've got Liam Otley as well, 200,000. And then you've got, who else is this? This is the Vibe Market. So his is just a paid community. Probably just dropped out there for a second. And then we've got a bunch of these. And I've been looking at these and being like, okay, what are common denominators? Like I've been on YouTube looking at where do I see one, like I'm carving out the niche of Vibe Consulting, you know, like that is my niche. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what do all these successful communities have in common? So course is like a free community to a paid one. A lot of them are free to paid. So Liam's is free, but then he's got his like actual one, like coaching, like a proper coaching program. So it is like a free community, but then straight to a coaching program. It's not like a monthly recurring group. So he's monetized that way, again, like free to paid. Vibe Marketer doesn't, he's got a newsletter, which is, rather than being a free community, it's a free newsletter, and then it's pushing people to this paid, so same deal. Nate here, he does great stuff as well. Again, free to paid. And then seemingly the outlier is Nick. And Nick he basically seems to do all his stuff for free on YouTube, and then just drives people straight to paid. But he's got 2 paid communities, which is interesting. So he's got one that's 180 and the other one's like just under 400. So my decision has been I'm going to do a free community, which is a Vibe Consulting community, and then I'm going to have a paid version of this, and what we're going to do is do some content in here, probably pretty close to what Course has done, where you give some insight into the model. I'll put in maybe a few initial workflows that we're doing, or workflows that will build it live on YouTube as well, so that people are getting interactions, they're getting stuff of value from the community. So let's say it's like an email automation bot, or what else could it be? Even just in your personal email, like, you know, gathering that information and then saying, hey, these are the emails you got, like these are the ones we drafted responses for. It could be a case of like, oh, you wanted documents building depending on, you know, these sets of criteria, which is something I did at Ramp. So one thing we did was, when people would filled out a buyer persona, we would then go away, or I say we as in AI we. But originally it was like being manually built, and then with Relevance AI, I actually built with their agents the entire flow. So all the documentation for the entire build was done essentially as soon as they were onboarded, which just gave us immense leverage, and it meant our only time was spent on closing deals and then just fulfilling on consultant calls, which we did basically once a week for the first month, then bi-weekly. But they were paying north of 20 grand because we had a track record and everything, and you know, they got great results. But I'm saying that, you know, when you look on the face of it, it was like two guys doing 20 hours a week each, and we're making like $1.8 million last year, and it was 1.5 in profit. So it was wild stuff. And this is what I see as vibe consulting firms. And I probably should have just stated this earlier as well, but vibe consulting is, the reason it's going to be massive is, you look at companies like McKinsey, Deloitte, Bain, you know, they do north of $20 billion a year each in revenue. And they were born out of the Industrial Revolution, and Vibe Consulting's been born out of the AI revolution. So you've got hundreds of millions of companies that need to be online, right? Otherwise, they're going to get left behind, they're going to get dead. Same way people need to be leveraging AI to become more valuable. There is going to be this consolidation in both pools, where if people don't learn to become very AI kind of leveraged, they are going to just get swallowed up by the people that are. Because like I said before with my example, you are going to have vibe consulting, vibe agencies, vibe consulting firms that are probably 10 people. I think there's going to be a sub 50 person vibe consulting firm that gets bought for $1 billion in the next 3 years. That's actually what I think is going to happen, because you're going to have these highly leveraged consultants who understand how to use AI for acquiring clients and then using AI to deliver, and they've got to just do like the consulting calls and stuff like that. They're going to still be able to charge incredibly premium rates. Like I'm talking for an audit, 50K. And then, you know, if you want a build doing, it could be anywhere from $250,000 upwards. You know, I've seen people doing builds of north of $1 million. And this is kind of what this whole community is about, right? The whole community is about allowing people who aren't tech savvy to empower them to do the audits, to understand where the leverage is. They will over time become more leveraged themselves, and therefore they actually will become incredibly more valuable within the market, and they will not be consolidated like the people who don't evolve within this AI world, right? So that's kind of the plan here. As for how we're going to be, how this is going to present itself on like a daily, weekly basis, I'm not 100% sure, I'll be honest. But because I just think this is insightful from a perspective that I've never built a community really before. 106 people doesn't count. I had a Facebook group previously as well, and it was maybe 1,000 members. It wasn't big, and it took a long time to get there. And again, the engagement was a bit of a tough gig. So I would rather just show like on the journey of, you know, how I'm leveraging AI to build my consulting firm and my group and just in life, and the success that other people are getting. And I also think this is just going to be super valuable to show that, you know, someone that might have done stuff in other areas of business and had success, like building communities is just a totally different ball game, right? It's very different. And, you know, it's going to be a journey, and along watching this, you're going to learn my pitfalls, my mistakes. So subscribe, please. Drop a sub. Let's do this. I'm going to, I think what I'm also going to do now, I think about it, is I might even just answer comments. So like beginning whenever I do next episode, I'll just go to the last episode and just scroll through the comments and answer people's questions, because I think that's going to be valuable for everybody involved. So listen, it's going to be a ride. So this is day one, and you'll know where I'm kind of getting this idea from. Pat from Starter Story kind of did this with vibe coding, and this whole vibe movement is just taking off. So I can already tell you, my thumbnail and title, like, you want to replicate what other people are doing, right? So I'm very much, and I'm calling this out right now, going to be using something just like this. So I'm going to put, vibe community building to 100k day one, something like that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to producing content, getting your name out there. You need to look at what's working, look at the outliers, look at what the market wants, produce it, and then move on. All right. So see you in the next one. Peace.